can you do this to me? We have been together for more than 8 years. The scream ripped out of me like fire from my lungs. My throat felt raw, my whole body shaking like it couldn't contain the rage, the heartbreak, the betrayal. But that moment, standing in the doorway, looking at the two people who broke me, it didn't just happen out of nowhere. You need to know the before. You need to know what my life was before they took it all away. I was 26, 8 years married, and I thought I had the kind of love people dreamed about. I met Daniel when I was 15, in sophomore year. He was the boy who carried my books when my arms were full, the boy who walked me home when my mom worked late shifts, the boy who kissed me for the first time under the bleachers during a rainy football game. I remember the way he held my face in his hands that night, whispering, "I'll never let you go." And for years, I believed him. When he proposed at 20, it was simple. Just us in the park where we first held hands. He was nervous, fumbling the words, holding out a ring that wasn't expensive but was chosen with so much love, I didn't care if it had been from a vending machine. We got married the summer after. My best friend Lily stood beside me in a lavender dress, tears streaking her cheeks as she held my bouquet during the vows. She hugged me so hard afterward, whispering, "You're the luckiest woman in the world. He adores you." At the time, I thought she meant it. Our married life wasn't glamorous, but it was ours. We bought a little 2-bedroom house with chipped paint on the shutters and a yard big enough for a garden. The walls smelled faintly of old wood and fresh paint when we moved in, and we spent weeks making it a home, splashing the kitchen with yellow paint, stringing fairy lights in the living room, filling the shelves with photos of us. Every morning, Daniel left early for work. He'd kiss my forehead while I was still half asleep, whispering, "See you tonight, baby." I'd roll over, smile, and drift back into dreams. Later, I'd make coffee, sweet, 2 creams, just how I liked it, and start my day as a freelance graphic designer. I worked at the little desk by the window, sunlight spilling across my laptop. Our rescue dog, Milo, snored at my feet, his paws twitching as if he was chasing something in his dreams. It was peaceful, safe, simple. And every night, Daniel came home. Some nights exhausted, some nights giddy with a new work win, some nights quiet and brooding, but always he came back to me. We'd cook together or order pizza when we were lazy. We'd curl up on the couch, Milo between us, watching shows until we fell asleep. It wasn't perfect. We bickered. He left socks everywhere. I hogged the blankets. But underneath all that was love. Deep, undeniable love. At least that's what I believed. Lily was part of that life too. God, Lily. We'd been best friends since freshman year. She was the loud one, the fearless one, the one who dared me to sneak into the movies or skip class for milkshakes. Where I was cautious, she was reckless. Where I doubted myself, she charged in. She was my anchor and my wings all at once. Through heartbreaks, bad grades, family fights, she was there. When Daniel proposed, she screamed louder than I did. When I walked down the aisle, she was already crying before I reached him. We promised each other that no matter what life threw at us, we'd never let go of our friendship. She spent countless nights in our house. She knew the code to the front door. She helped me paint walls, plant flowers, decorate for Christmas. She teased Daniel like a brother and hugged him like family. And I never questioned it. But if I look back now, the warning signs were there. Small, almost invisible. But there, like the time we were making pasta in the kitchen, me chopping vegetables, Lily leaning against the counter, Daniel stirring sauce. I stepped out to grab something from the garage. When I came back, they went silent too quickly. I laughed it off. Plotting against me again? Lily grinned, a little too wide. Daniel kissed my cheek, muttering, "Always." And I told myself I was overthinking. Or the time Lily showed up in a new dress, spinning around and asking, "What do you think?" I said she looked gorgeous. But when Daniel's eyes lingered just a little too long before he looked away, I felt something cold in my stomach. I shook it off. "Don't be crazy," I told myself. "They're your people. They'd never..." But sometimes, in the quiet of night, when Daniel turned away from me in bed, when he was too tired to touch me, I'd feel a shadow of doubt creep in. I buried it. I smothered it. I trusted. Because trust was the foundation of everything. One night, Lily stayed over after too much wine. We were in the living room, music playing softly, candles flickering. She sprawled across the couch, Daniel in the armchair, me on the floor with Milo's head in my lap. She laughed, tipsy, and said, "God, you two are disgusting. 8 years, and you still look at each other like teenagers." I smiled, leaning into Daniel's hand on my shoulder. "Because he's mine," I said, half joking, half proud. Lily smirked, her eyes glinting. "Always?" she teased, echoing Daniel's favorite word. Daniel chuckled. "Always." And they shared a look I couldn't name. I swallowed it down, ignoring the way my pulse raced. Because Lily was my best friend. Daniel was my husband, and I had no reason, to doubt either of them. That was the life I lived. Morning coffee. Milo's wagging tail, Daniel's tired smile at the door. Lily's laughter in our kitchen, ordinary happiness, ordinary trust, and I didn't know that beneath that perfect surface, something rotten was already growing. I didn't know that the people I loved most were already betraying me. I didn't know that the girl who braided my hair at sleepovers, who swore she'd protect me forever, was already in my bed when I wasn't looking. And when I found out, when I finally saw the truth with my own eyes, the woman I was shattered, and the woman I became. She was someone they never saw coming. Daniel started coming home later than usual. At first, it was once or twice a week. Work ran over. Traffic was a nightmare. The usual excuses. I believed him. Why wouldn't I? But then it became 4 nights a week, then 5. When he did come home, he was distracted. His phone buzzed constantly, and he'd tilt the screen away when I walked by. "Who's that?" I asked once, casually, while he was tapping furiously on the screen. He jumped. "Work, just work." I wanted to believe him. God, I needed to believe him. But there was something in the way he said it. Too quick, too defensive. And late at night, lying beside him, staring at the ceiling, I could feel it. The distance, the shift, the absence of the man who used to pull me close and whisper, "Always." Then came Lily. She started dropping by more often. Always unannounced. At first it was nothing unusual. She'd done that for years. But now her visit seemed calculated. Like the night Daniel worked late. I was curled up on the couch, Milo snoring at my feet, when the doorbell rang. It was Lily, holding a bottle of wine. "Girls' night?" she said too brightly. I let her in. We drank, we laughed. She asked me endless questions about Daniel. How was work? Was he stressed? Was he distant? I didn't think much of it then. I just thought she cared. But later, when she used the bathroom, I saw her phone light up on the counter. A text flashed. "Daniel, can't stay long. She'll notice." My stomach dropped. I froze. My ears buzzed like 1,000 bees. My hands went numb. When she came back, I smiled. Pretended I hadn't seen. But inside, a storm was building. For weeks, I tried to brush it off. I told myself maybe it was innocent. Maybe they were planning something for me. A surprise, a party, something stupid. But deep down, my gut screamed the truth, and the truth wouldn't stay buried. The night it all exploded, Daniel told me he was working late again. I smiled, kissed his cheek, watched him drive away, and then I grabbed my keys. Milo whined as I left, like he knew. Like even the dog could feel the storm about to break. I drove. My hands were slick on the steering wheel, my heart pounding so hard I thought I'd faint. I didn't even know exactly where I was going, just following instinct. And instinct led me to Lily's apartment. Her car was in the lot. Daniel's car was parked right beside it. My vision blurred. My chest tightened like a fist around my lungs. But I still climbed those stairs. I still walked down that hallway. I still put my hand on her doorknob. Because of course she'd given me a key years ago. And I opened the door. What I saw burned itself into my brain like a brand. Them. Together. In her bed. Daniel's back. His shirt on the floor. Lily's smile, wicked and triumphant, as if she'd been waiting for me to see. She didn't even flinch. She didn't cover herself. She just smirked, leaned into him and whispered, "He chose me." Daniel turned his face away, shame painted across it. He couldn't even look at me, and I broke, I screamed, I cried. I begged the universe to wake me up from the nightmare. 8 years. I shrieked, tears blinding me. 8 years, Daniel. And you, Lily? You were my sister. My family. Lily laughed. Actually laughed. "You're pathetic," she said, her voice dripping venom. "Always so sure of your perfect little life. You didn't even see it, did you? He never wanted you." "Not really," he settled. "And now he's finally done pretending." Her words cut deeper than any knife. Daniel finally looked at me then, his eyes wet, his mouth trembling. But he said nothing. Nothing. Silence. Guilt. Cowardice. That silence told me everything. I staggered out, my whole body shaking, the floor tilting beneath me. I don't even remember driving home. I just remember stumbling through the door, collapsing onto the kitchen floor, and screaming until my throat was raw. Milo curled against me, whining, licking my tears, the only creature in that moment who hadn't betrayed me. And in that kitchen, on that cold tile floor, something inside me died. The woman who trusted, the woman who believed in always, she was gone. What rose in her place was someone else. Someone darker. Someone sharper. Someone who would not just survive, but make them pay, because they thought I was weak. They thought I'd crumble and disappear. But they didn't know the storm they had unleashed, and my revenge. It wouldn't just end their little affair, it would end everything for them. I didn't sleep that night. Not 1 second. I sat at the kitchen table, Milo's head in my lap, staring at the wall while rage boiled under my skin. My tears had dried into salt on my face, but inside, I felt like a volcano. Pressure building, burning, waiting to erupt. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them. Lily's smug grin, Daniel's guilty face, their bodies tangled in the bed where I used to sleep during sleepovers. I wanted to smash things. To break every plate, every glass, every framed photo of us smiling like fools. But instead I sat there stone still, because anger wasn't enough. No. Anger was fleeting. I needed something permanent. Something that would destroy them. By sunrise, I had a plan. The old me would have begged, pleaded, tried to work it out. But that woman was gone. The new me wanted blood, and the first weapon I had was knowledge. Daniel was sloppy. That was his first mistake. For years, I'd trusted him so blindly, I'd never thought twice about finances. He handled the bills, the accounts, the taxes. He always said, "Don't worry, baby. I've got it." But now I needed to know everything. So while he showered that morning, yes, he came home, like nothing happened. I pulled his laptop from his bag. He never expected me to look. He never even said a password, and what I found? Oh, it was better than I could have dreamed. Hidden emails, deleted texts synced to his cloud, receipts, hotel bookings, bank transfers, not just to Lily, to others. My stomach lurched as I scrolled, bile rising in my throat. 8 years of marriage, and he'd been cheating long before Lily. She wasn't the first, just the boldest. Every late night, every business trip, lies, all of it. But this time, I didn't cry. No, I saved, screenshotted, printed. Every message, every receipt, every damning piece of evidence. By the time Daniel walked into the kitchen, Ty half nodded, I was calm. Smiling even. "Morning," I said softly, sliding his coffee across the table. He blinked, suspicious. "You're okay?" I kissed his cheek. Always, and he bought it. For weeks I played the part, the loving wife. The oblivious fool. I cooked his favorite meals, laughed at his stories, kissed him goodnight, and every time he left the house, I dug deeper. Bank statements, insurance policies, property deeds. I uncovered debts I didn't even know we had. Loans in my name, credit cards maxed out, accounts nearly drained. He wasn't just cheating, he was bleeding us dry. And Lily? She wasn't innocent either. I found texts where she begged him for money, asked him to help cover rent, asked when he'd finally leave that boring wife. They mocked me, called me clueless, said I'd never see it coming. Oh, but I did, and I was going to make sure the entire world saw it too. Step 1. A lawyer. I didn't hire just any lawyer. I hired the lawyer, a shark with blood on her teeth and zero mercy. She told me exactly what to do. Gather evidence, stay quiet, let him think I was still blind. So I did. Meanwhile, I moved money into a private account. Sold small valuables he'd never notice missing. Slowly, quietly, I built my escape fund. Step 2. Evidence against Lily. She worked at a marketing firm. I called in a favor from an old client who had ties to HR. With a little digging, I found she'd been using company resources to send Daniel. Explicit photos, company laptop, company email violation of policy, Grounds for termination. Check. But revenge is sweeter when it's slow. So I started leaving little cracks in the mask. One night at dinner, I set my phone down on the table, screen up, showing a screenshot of Daniel's text to Lily. "Can't wait to taste you again." He froze. I smiled. "Pass the salt?" He passed it, hand trembling. Another night, I wore the lavender necklace Lily had given me years ago. I stroked it casually, looking Daniel dead in the eyes. "She always did have good taste," I said. He choked on his drink. It was delicious. Watching him squirm, sweat, second-guess, the guilt ate him alive. And all the while, he didn't know I was already dismantling his entire life behind the scenes. The final straw came 2 months later. I came home early from yoga. In reality, I'd been at the lawyer's office signing papers, and there they were again. In my bed this time. Lily smirking, Daniel stammering excuses, but this time, I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I laughed. A cold, sharp laugh that made Lily's smirk falter. "You think you've won," I said quietly, pulling a folder from my bag. I dropped it on the bed. Pages spilled out, texts, emails, bank records. Daniel's face went white. Lily grabbed a sheet, scanning, her smile collapsing. "You're done," I whispered. "Both of you." And I walked out. Calm, unshaken, because the trap was already set. The divorce papers were filed the next morning. Adultery, financial fraud, emotional abuse. I had everything documented. Every receipt, every message, the house. Mine. The car. Mine. Half his income for life. Oh yes, mine too. He tried to fight. Of course he did. But the court laughed in his face. As for Lily, her company let her go. Turns out, sending nudes on a work laptop wasn't their idea of professionalism. She lost her job. Her apartment. Her dignity. And that was only the beginning. Because my revenge wasn't just about legal victories. It was about stripping them bare. Making them feel the way I felt. Exposed, humiliated, destroyed. And I wasn't done yet. The courtroom was cold. Not in temperature, but in energy. Daniel sat across from me, his once confident shoulders slumped, his tie crooked like a child who'd dressed himself. His lawyer whispered frantically in his ear, but I could see it in his eyes. He knew. He was losing. Lily didn't even bother showing up for the first hearing. By then, she was too busy fighting eviction notices and scrambling for another job. I should have felt pity. Once I probably would have. But that woman was gone, now. Watching their lives unravel was the sweetest kind of justice. The judge flipped through the stack of evidence my lawyer presented. Screenshots of Daniel's text to Lily and other women. Bank statements showing money siphoned into Lily's accounts. Proof of loans in my name. Loans I'd never signed for. Fraud. Adultery. Betrayal on every possible level. Daniel's lawyer tried to argue. Tried to say it was emotional exaggeration, that I was just a scorned wife. But the facts were ironclad. When the judge finally spoke, her voice was like music to my ears. The court awards the marital home to the petitioner. All joint accounts are to be liquidated, with 65% awarded to the petitioner due to the respondent's proven misconduct. Spousal support is granted indefinitely. Daniel's jaw clenched. His hands gripped the table so tightly his knuckles turned white. And me? I sat tall, calm, almost serene, because this was only the beginning. Outside the courthouse, Daniel caught up to me. His face was red, eyes wild, spit flying as he hissed, "You think you've won? You ruined me!" I turned slowly, looked him dead in the eyes and said, "No, Daniel, you ruined you. I just made sure the world saw it." He flinched like I'd slapped him. I walked away, heels clicking on the marble, my lawyer beside me. Every step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. But revenge isn't complete without humiliation. I could have stopped at the court win. I could have walked away with the house, the money, the security, but they had laughed at me. Mocked me, smirked in my face, so I made sure everyone knew exactly who they were. I started with Lily. I sent an anonymous tip to her old company's HR department, forwarded them all the explicit photos. She'd sent Daniel on her work laptop. They had already fired her, but now they blacklisted her. No recommendation, no chance of rehiring in the industry. Her reputation? Shattered, then I let her family know. Not directly, of course, but small-town gossip spreads fast when a concerned friend drops screenshots into the right inbox. Her parents called me. Begged me to stop. Said she was just confused. I hung up. Confused. Women don't sleep with their best. friend's husband, and laugh in her face. Daniel was next. He'd always prided himself on being the successful provider, the golden boy in his firm. So I made sure that image burned. I forwarded the financial fraud evidence to his company. The secret loans, the hidden accounts, the gambling transfers he thought I hadn't noticed. They suspended him within a week. By the end of the month, he was gone. Unemployed. Unemployable, once word spread. His friends? They vanished. The same men who used to toast him at barbecues now crossed the street to avoid him. His family? Furious, ashamed. His mother called me sobbing, apologizing for raising such a monster. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The best part? Watching them turn on each other. Lily expected Daniel to save her, to pay her bills, whisk her away, start a shiny new life together. But without his job, without my money to drain, Daniel had nothing. They were broke, desperate, fighting constantly. Neighbors whispered about the screaming matches in Lily's apartment complex. One night, a mutual friend texted me. They trashed each other's stuff. Cops came. It's over. I laughed so hard I cried. The perfect little affair that had destroyed my marriage had crumbled into dust within months. But I wasn't done with Daniel. He still owed me spousal support. And when he fell behind on payments, I dragged him back to court. Every single time. Garnished wages from his pathetic part-time jobs. Seized his car when he defaulted. I made sure he felt the weight of every dollar, every debt, every betrayal. Because he hadn't just broken my heart. He'd tried to break me. And I wanted him to know that I would never stop holding him accountable. Meanwhile, I rebuilt myself. I renovated the house, painted over the walls where our photos once hung, planted new flowers in the garden, adopted another rescue dog to keep Milo company. I went back to school part-time, grew my design business. Slowly, carefully. I built a life that was mine alone. And the more I grew, the smaller they became. The last time I saw them together was almost poetic. It was 6 months after the divorce. I was at the grocery store, pushing a cart filled with fresh vegetables, a new sense of lightness in my chest. And there they were. Daniel, unshaven, wearing the same wrinkled shirt 3 days in a row. Lily, pale and thin, her hair greasy, her eyes hollow. They froze when they saw me. I smiled. Bright. Radiant. "Hi," I said, like I was greeting old acquaintances. Neither of them could speak. I leaned in slightly, lowered my voice and whispered, "How's always working out for you?" Then I walked away, leaving them standing there in the fluorescent light, shadows of the people they once were. Revenge isn't just about destruction. It's about balance, about making sure the scales even out after someone tips them so brutally against you. And as I walked out of that store, head high, groceries in hand, I realized something. They had broken me once, but I had turned that brokenness into fire, and in that fire, I burned them both to ash. Months passed, and the chaos faded into silence. The house no longer felt haunted. The laughter that once cut me like a knife was replaced by peace, by my own music, my own voice, my own freedom. I didn't stalk their social media anymore. I didn't care what jobs they lost, who abandoned them, or where they ended up. That part of my life was closed, because the truth was, revenge wasn't the end. Healing was one morning. I stood on the porch with a coffee in hand, watching the sunrise paint the sky gold. Milo sat at my feet, tail wagging. For the first time in years, I didn't feel heavy. I felt free. I realized Daniel and Lily had given me a gift without meaning to. They forced me to rebuild from the ground up, to remember who I was before them, to become stronger than I ever thought I could be. And that was the real victory. Not the money. Not the courtroom wins. Not even their downfall. The real revenge was living well. Living better. I smiled, whispered to myself, "This is my story now." And I stepped into my new life. Lighter, fiercer, and completely unshakable.